Okay, I'm going live, guys. I'm going live, guys. We are live.
Hello everyone, the GNU Linux Users Group and IT Durgapur is glad to present to you its first speaker for the Dev Talks. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Francesco Ciulla, a Docker captain, developer advocate, and a popular content creator on YouTube. He's also the founder of the open source community for C and works as a freelance DevOps consultant who is highly experienced in cloud based services. He's well known for his postcards and videos on DevOps, Docker, and web technology. Hello, Francesco. Could you please tell us about yourself?
Hey, Vedika, thank you. This introduction has been amazing. Yes, you already told us a lot of things. I'm a Docker captain. I've been maybe too much active on Twitter lately in the last couple of years. I'm an introvert and a content creator. I started my YouTube journey about 1 year ago. And maybe this is the destiny that I started my interviews on YouTube exactly 1 year ago. So we are perfect timing. Just 1 year since my first interview, I am the guest now. So thank you, and I'm ready to answer to your questions and also the questions in the chat, because we are doing this live stream also, so people get engaged, ask me anything. I'm here for you, and yeah, let's get started.
Thank you so much, sir. The first question would be, what made you interested in the field of DevOps and how did you get started with it?
This is a great question. 5 years ago, I started to get serious about programming, and I wanted to be a game developer. By the way, I failed in that, but I needed to create some backend, some technology, let's say for like the ladder for the game. So I needed something to deploy this backend for my game, and so I started to look how can I do this. And then I stepped into Docker and I started to study that day by day, almost daily. And I started to really love this. This was about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Yes, so I like the idea that you use something for every language, for every technology, because in the problem of development, I think, is that we have too many frameworks, too many languages. So having something which at least is constant in our project is something that I really like, because I've written programs in Java, C, C++, Python, JavaScript, but now at least I have something which works for every language. I'm also working on a Java video now, for example.
Yes, sir. I completely agree that when we start implementing something, we get to learn more. Like as this is the way you started, right? I wanted to know about your university experience. Could you tell us a few memories from your college? Because our audience mainly includes undergrad students.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I have a computer science degree. I made this some years ago, and it has been a good experience. Even if, to be honest, I've studied something which is different from what I'm doing now. I never used the Docker and DevOps in my university. In university, I studied math, physics, chemistry, algorithms, a lot of algorithms, statistics. So it was not really related of what then I've done. I've been hired for the European Space Agency, so I was a full stack developer there. But I like the experience, and also I can say this is a bit strange, but my job for the European Space Agency has been possible because one of my professors of the university sent me an email telling me, Francesco, would you like to work for the European Space Agency? And I thought that was a joke. Instead, it was true. I went to the interview and then I started working there. So it's interesting. University is not just about studying. Of course, it's a huge part, but it's also about creating connections, networks with other people with same interests. So yeah, there is a lot, way more than just studying for the exam and doing the exam. Of course, you have to study to finish the university, I think.
Yes, sir. So as you mentioned, as computer science undergrads, what we basically or mainly learn is in college prepares us for software engineering roles. So how should one go about to aim for a relatively advanced field like DevOps? So what should be one's building stones for that?
Okay, so you're asking about how the university can be related to what we do after the university,
Uh,
something like that.
yes, sir. I mean, what we learn at university does not necessarily help us with advanced fields like
Yeah.
DevOps. Yeah. So how should we go about it?
Yeah, the university is just for a student. It's very effort. It's very difficult to do the university, especially if you're doing other stuff in the meanwhile. But at the end of the day, the university is just a small part of our life. We think that we just need to make the university and then we are done. But that's not true. Especially if you are a developer, you will need to stay updated, keep yourself updated, keep learning. Maybe one good thing is that the university prepares you to study, to know how to study something. But of course, it really can't help you from what we will have in 5 years, 10 years. So it's more about the mindset, and it's not for everyone, but I know that in India it's something which is really important to do.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so it's important, but it's not just your the goal of your life should not be to just get graduated and then we're done. Forget about that, because you will need to keep working after that.
Yeah.
Just the beginning.
Yes, sir. We totally agree. I mean, university prepares us for a lot of things, but then we have to explore things in various domains on our own. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like 20 years ago, if you do the university, then basically you are done. Everybody started looking for you. This is not true anymore, sadly. So you need to keep looking for a job even after the university.
Yes, sir. So there's this question that has come up in the live chat section. Raju Shekhar wants to ask that how should a beginner start experimenting with DevOps?
This is a great question, Raju. Uh, I think it's important to have at least one application. So I would not, even if I am a DevOps fanatic, I would not suggest to a beginner to just check DevOps without even checking what I don't know, like the API is or how internet works. So it's important to understand the basics of the containerization. I honestly suggest to maybe create at least one backend application, even on Hello World, and then you try to check like how to containerize this. For example, if you use the Node.js, you say how to containerize Node.js. So I suggest you to first of all create something and then see how you can step into the DevOps world, because the DevOps world is huge. There are so many tools that you can't even imagine. There was a link of a page with all the tools, and it was like that, like 200 things. So DevOps, it's like saying front end. It's a huge word. You can't say just this with just one word. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Either.
So there are a lot of things, as you said, there are a lot of things out there. We just need to choose and start learning and implementing them. Even a hello world would work. Yes. I wanted to know that you recently started your YouTube journey. So how has your ride been until now? And could you please describe to us your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I was saying before that it's interesting that I just started my interviews 1 year ago, but I wanted to start YouTube like 10 years ago, but I was too shy and I was fearing the judgment. So for me, it was very hard to do something what we are doing now. It was really impossible 2 years ago. Then what I did, I started to connect with other small YouTubers just to talk with them. And then it started to become more natural for me to make some videos. And then I make some. Then I make videos. I made videos about different topics. I started, to be honest, not with coding videos, just me running for charity. So I needed a reason to start. And so I started, and then I made some Docker tutorials, then some live streams, and then I made interviews, a lot of interviews, because I made 100 interviews in 100 days. So I think it started on the 24th of October, and I ended in the 2nd of February 2021. So it has been a kind of long and crazy journey, and it's strange for me being a guest because I've been a host all the times.
Yes, so since it was so much of work, how did you manage between creating content on YouTube and your actual projects? How did you find a balance between those?
Great. This is a great question. I've managed to do this because doing what we are doing now, it's maybe easier than like creating a full crash course. So maybe you need to prepare. Of course, you have prepared some questions. Some there has been some preparation, but this is something that you can do. For me, it has been easier to do something like that because when I was doing just tutorials, it was super hard. Probably now it would be easier, especially if you are a non-native speaker. It's not that easy to just explain something in a very clean way. But yeah, so I decided to do this for a period. So of course, I reduced some of my side projects. So I wanted to dedicate my time to YouTube for a short amount of time, like some months, to monetize the YouTube channel, and it worked. So I'm happy with that. I'm still doing interviews once per week now. Otherwise, I would have gone crazy. And yes, I also share tutorials. I do live streams, other stuff. So yes, just check it out if you want.
Yes, so we have put it in the description so everybody can check that out. So there's this another question that has come up from Mohammed, that what are your tips for budding freelancers who have just started freelancing or are interested in doing so?
Okay, I don't see that in the chat, but okay. Okay, about freelancing. I've been a freelancer before, and then I've worked full time, so I can see the differences. Freelancing, I like it more, but it doesn't have to be this for everyone. What I can say that for freelancing, first of all, you need to be prepared to work also during the weekends in some different hours. The good thing is that, for example, if you want to take a break, 1 hour, 2 hours, you can do that. For example, I like this. For me, it's not a problem to wake up very early in the morning, working very early. But if I live in Italy, if I see a sunny day, maybe I want to take a walk without anybody to complain about this. About freelancing tips and get clients, it's very important to create strong connections with people. This is, for example, how I did that. All my connections, what I'm working now, are people that I've known on social media, so also out of Italy. So it's very important to do, for example, what you say that you will do. For example, you say, let's do this, something simple. Very important, the word of mouth of word. Yeah, so it's important to start. You don't have to get so many clients, but at least start with something super small, because it's also for yourself to check what you like and what you don't like. At least we always work for someone else. It's rare that we just work for ourselves. Even if we work for ourselves, we are working for the market. So we always have someone who tells us what to do. But it's important to do this also for yourself, not just. I'll say never underprice yourself. Maybe it's better to say no sometimes if it's something that you don't like. Because you don't know. Maybe after 1 week you will get an offer which is twice the better. So yes, learn to say no.
So how was your experience with your first freelancing project? Like when you started with freelancing?
Yeah, to be honest, I started with freelancing way before, so a lot of years ago. But let's talk about after quitting my job. I quit my job on March 2020, right after monetizing my YouTube channel, and it has been great. It was with a person that I met on Twitter. I worked just for 2 months, but it was a great experience. Not exactly what I was looking for, because I was looking more for a developer advocate position, and we can talk about what is that. And yeah, but it was great. It was great. It's nice. We are still friends, of course, even if I don't work for him anymore.
Yes, that was that was a great insight. So there's this another question that has come up from Shruti, that there are so many new technologies and concepts coming out. So it might become overwhelming sometimes for a beginner who is interested in making a career in the field of technology. So what would be your advice for them?
Okay, Shoti. Now I'm going to say something which is very obvious. Remove something. So you need to choose what you want to do. I sometimes I make this analogy with schools. With school, you need to choose which school do you want to attend. You can't make all the universities in the world. You need to choose one. And it's something similar, because the development, the IT world, it's huge. The more you focus, the better achievements you will have. For example, I've shared almost just content about Docker for 1 year, and now I am one of the 20 Docker captains in the world. So I can promise that this works. And of course, this is also interesting because it's you have less time to dedicate, for example, to create content, to study. I don't know you, but the best days of my learning process is that when I've decided, okay, let's put this aside and let's focus on what I really like. So the best days has been there when I remove some bookmarks. Say, okay, let's remove this for now, because it's important to focus on the projects and not the technologies. If you start to focusing on technologies, you'll get lost, even if you do just this all day long. So maybe it's better to start from the idea, like, I don't know, like I want to create my portfolio. So, and then you decide the technologies. Okay, so the technologies is just a tool for us, which helps us. Sometimes I do also this analogy. You don't just learn a natural language like that. Like I want to learn Russian. There must be a reason to use that. You can't just learn all the languages in the world just because you like the languages. I don't know, maybe someone can do this, but for the most of the people, it's more important to say, okay, maybe I want to live in Japan, so I start learning Japanese. So the technologies, the frameworks is something that you use, because sometimes developers, I know, we fall in love with a technology, but it's important to focus more on the projects.
Yes, so very rightly put up. We need to start with a project of what we want to create and then look for the technologies. Yeah. You mentioned that you became a Docker captain. So our heartfelt congratulations on that. Can you tell us about what it is and how do you feel after becoming one?
Docker captain or Docker captain?
Yeah, Docker captain.
Okay, yeah. First of all, this is not a title that I gave to myself, like because I feel important. It's Docker Captain is like the ambassador, like the ambassador of Docker. They sent me this package. I still need to open this. This is a swag of Docker. Probably I'll open this soon. Basically, a Docker Captain is as a person, a developer, who just helps Docker to create a connection with the audience. So if you have something that you want to know about Docker, you can send a message to me. We do also do some calls, separate calls, when we talk directly with the Docker team about the new features. There are new features upcoming in the new weeks, for example. So yes, are just like ambassadors of the official Docker company. So that's it.
Yes, sir. That helped in the understanding of it. So Raju Shekhar has asked this another question, that how is Kubernetes integral automating the cloud computing systems?
Okay, so now we are going a little bit technical, but I'll give just a sneak peek. Docker is a containerization technology. Kubernetes is an orchestration technology. So once you have the containers, you can have many for your whole application. What Kubernetes does is that it helps you to handle all these containers. So it's a container orchestrator, and it's useful. It's not the only one, the only orchestration tool, but I suggest you to start from the basics, maybe, and then you step into the Kubernetes world. Kubernetes is not a replacement to Docker. Kubernetes uses Docker or another container engine. So let's go step by step, because otherwise it can really become very confusing if you just check all the buzzwords of the technologies just like that. But of course, you can also check some videos, but I suggest you to start from the basics and then step up, because the the pyramid is very tall. Yeah.
Yeah, so most of us weren't here about this, that it uses both. Yeah. So you tweeted in 2013 that once not being able to answer a question in SQL got you rejected in an interview. So developers are constantly getting acquainted with new stacks and building new projects. So it is more or less a continuous process. So do you think that the current interview processes is an appropriate measure of a developer's acumen?
Yeah. By the way, the tweet, it was not of 2013, but that was the year that when happened this. I can't remember. But anyway, I've been an interviewer too. I interviewed more than 200 people in the process while I was working for the European Space Agency. And honestly, I don't like the current interview process. Of course, I'm saying we know what we are talking about. So I don't think that development is the only field when people ask questions which are not related to your future job, which for me is crazy. It seems a bit like we can talk for hours about this. I think just as a topic. If you want, you can invite me again. But I think this is just a way, I don't know, like to choose someone. Like they need a way, and sometimes I think that also the people who interview, they don't have a clue of which technologies you need to use. So if you make a question about algorithms or other stuff which is not related to that, at least the questions, they were always the same. I honestly think that this is because otherwise you should update the questions every 6 months. So I don't know if this is not good. I will never ask questions about algorithms, even if I like algorithms. To be honest, when I was doing the university, I liked more the algorithm rather than coding. Now I like more the coding part, but they are totally two different worlds, and we should fix this I think in some ways. But I think that something is happening, because if something is wrong, I hope that some people will start to change this. I would do this. I still don't have a company, but if I would have a company, I will never make some unrelated questions to what you will do in the company. But I need to work on that. I still don't have a company, but maybe in 10 years there will be more people that have changed their mind. This is the only thing that you can do to change this interview process. We need to work all together. We all need to change this, because it's crazy that a person needs to study something, especially algorithms, just for the interview. Because I like algorithms, but you should never be forced to learn them just to answer to a question. I don't know if you agree.
Yes, so I totally agree that the job should, the main parameter should be the actual requirement of what one is going to do. Yeah. So you were talking about taking interviews. So how do you go about it? Like, what are the key points that you focus on?
As an interviewer or as a person who tries to get a job?
I mean, as an interviewer.
So from the interviewer point of view?
Yeah.
Yeah. As an interviewer, I like to, first of all, we need to make the people comfortable, because when a person is coming on an interview, they can be stressed. They really need a job. So first of all, is to make feel the person comfortable. But I think this is not just for the interviews; it's just for every human relations. And then I would like to first of all make some questions, maybe to understand maybe which are the things that the person they likes more, because now I see this trend. I also am in this trend. We just say we are all full stack developers. Okay, so it means that we do everything.
Yeah.
The reality is that maybe we are focused more on something rather than something else.
Yeah.
So maybe in the past it was maybe there was a person like a front-end developer who didn't know anything about backend. Now everybody knows something about something, because we have simplified a bit, maybe, or maybe we have complicated the web development. But I think it's easier now to bootstrap, for example, a server, an application. So everybody knows something. But I think that it's important to ask the people where they would like to know more, to work more. So, for example, for me, it's the DevOps part.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I like to ask about current projects, future projects. What I really suggest is to never lie, never say something which is not true in your CV, because maybe it's better to say something honest but simple, because it happened to me. Someone said that, like, I made a full stack application like in PHP. Then I make a question about PHP. If they don't answer to this, if they don't even know what is that, it's not really a problem. But maybe I wanted to make a question to help you, because I see that is in your CV, and then you know nothing about that. So I think start thinking about that your CV is just maybe like copy from somewhere. So maybe it's better to have it shorter, but put what you really think that people they want to ask you, because if they want to help you, they will make some questions about your old project, your last project. So yes.
Yes, so it's very important to be genuine about what you are presenting and have a clarity of what you are creating. Yes, so there's this another question that has come up from Lakshman Verma. He wants to ask, what is DevOps and how is it? Okay, what is DevScopes and how is it different from DevOps?
This is a great question. Okay, so DevOps, it's basically developer and operations. So basically, we are connecting the world of operations. Is like everything you do. We do a short version, of course. The operations are the things that you need to do in order to deploy your application, and the development is the real development, the working on the code base of the application. So now these two words are coming closer. So containerization, it's one of the things that are helping this. So the DevOps is basically just developer and operations. And DevSecOps is just another buzzword, let's say more even newer, which is about development, security, and operations. Because of course, so when you deploy something, this is also should be secure. So there are all the things that are related to the security of the application during the deployment, which is not the deployment itself. When you deploy something for the first time, or if just as a test, you don't really care about security. But of course, if you do something, for example, like a SaaS project, in that case, you need to take care about the security of your application, about some hacker attacks, or maybe just the security of your application. Yeah, that's it. In a very short way, of course.
Yes, so it was a great insight. I mean, it helped in the better understanding of it. So Apurva wants to ask that what are your views on the debate of a pro-privacy model of building technology?
Okay, can you repeat here? What are your views on the debate of a pro-privacy model? What do you mean by privacy model of building technology? I don't get exactly the question. Can you explain a bit if you got that? Of a pro-privacy model. Maybe he's talking about an application which keeps the privacy of the users.
Yeah, it means that it lays a bigger stress on the privacy, a model that does that.
I think I don't think that I can answer to this question right now. I think that this must be related to the application itself. So I've worked with a lot of applications which involve the security or the privacy for the users in European Space Agency, but it depends on what to like. Yeah, it depends on what to on the single application. I don't think there is a reason for, and I think it implies also a bit the technology, because if you use one language rather than another one, then you need to focus on how you can do the privacy on this stuff. I don't know if I answered you, Purva. Maybe you're
Uh,
talking about like maybe keeping the data secret and maybe remove the account if one person. Of course, please, yeah. Maybe one simple thing that we can do is to at least don't store unencrypted passwords in the database, because also the developers of the application, they have access to those database. So you should encrypt also the data of the people who are signed up on your application. I don't know if this is exactly the
Yeah,
answer,
well,
but
so yeah, this is
yeah.
what I meant. Yeah. So there's this another question from Archit that today's software engineers who enter the industry have a doubt whether to take their strengths or to see where their strengths lie, or fulfill a more generalist role, like work with any technology provided there in the given time frame. uh, well, on the other hand, there are engineers who go in as specialists, for instance front end engineers or DevOps engineers. So what do you think is a better approach in terms of the impact one can create?
This is a great question, Archit. Congratulations. My honest thoughts is that it's better to focus on less things. So even it would be better to focus on just one thing. The reason is that when you want to get paid, usually you should not do something to do how to do a lot of stuff, but you need to know how to do just one thing. If you do amazing job with CSS, you will get a job. If you know exactly how you can test your backend application, you will get a job. But you need to be an expert. If you do, let's make a joke. If you do like just a hello world in 10 languages, you are not a full stack developer. You have
Yeah.
just done some tutorials. Yeah. So this is just for fun. But the idea is to get paid, you need to do something which other people have problems in doing that. If you just do, and I think that at the end of the day, by being in the development world, you always check something. So you will be a generalist anyway, but we should focus on just one thing. I think this is way better. Also, it's better as a time saver. It's better as a content creator. For example, I don't know, like if you know very well just Python, let's say, you can create content about that. If you create about too many different topics, it's very hard. There are some exceptions, but usually it's better to focus on just one topic. So I would go on the specialist. Of course, you need to choose something which maybe can still be on the edge maybe in a couple of years, because if you start working on something that will be outdated in 2 years, which is basically everything, it will be very hard. So I suggest to study less and focus more.
Yeah, so like small knowledge is pretty dangerous. So it's better to concentrate on one thing and get better at it. And yeah, so I totally agree with what you just said. Um, there are a few questions coming up. Smith Doe asked that how are new technologies like cloud computing, machine learning, and blockchain affecting the ecosystem of computer science as a domain?
This is a great question. They will affect especially the future. And I've also, for example, I studied the blockchain in the university, and now it's helping me a bit, because I also want to get back into that. Now I think there are a lot of people that are studying these Web3 technologies, and I don't have an exact answer, but I'm sure that this is a right direction. It's like containerization. It's not. There are some technologies which are just maybe they appear and they disappear after 2 months. But there are some technologies, some concepts like containerization, also Web3, they are here to stay. So I suggest you, for example, you can focus on just one of those. Also, just Web3 is so many technologies in the same world. Yeah, so I think that they will change how we will use the internet and our PC and our media, but it will take some time. But I think in 3 years or 5 years, things will change. And now we are, let's say, in this Web 2 time when all the data are on just some applications. Like you sign up for Twitter, for YouTube, and they have all our data.
Yeah.
These things are changing now, and yeah, for sure, this is not something which just will disappear tomorrow, for sure. So you can go on that if you really like, of course. Don't do that just because yeah, it's a trend, but try to check that, and yes, good luck.
Yes, sir. While we talk of technologies coming and disappearing, Nirvik wants to ask that what are your thoughts on Kubernetes dropping the Docker support?
Yeah, I've created a thread, an article, a live stream. I posted something about that. This is just to make this very very short, but I can send the thread that I made. This is just something which was for development purposes, because Kubernetes needs a container engine. So that was just a tool which was used in some particular cases. So it's not about that. What I really suggest you, even if I am a Docker captain, let me say this: don't focus too much on technology, even on Docker, on Kubernetes. Try to understand how do they work. Docker is the de facto standard for containerization, but it's not the only one technology. Kubernetes is the de facto orchestration tool, but it's not the only one. So use these tools to understand how things work. And yes, but you can keep working on Kubernetes and Docker, no worries.
Yes, sir. That was a great insight. So there's this another question that has come up. Running into bugs is always given in software development. So we always, while creating something, while working on a product, we always come through a lot of bugs and a lot of errors, which can be overwhelming at times. So could you please share your experience with that?
My experience with bugs, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want me to see me cry? No. We all experience bugs because this is our job. What I usually do is that when I see that there is a problem, I try to change the approach, or I take a walk. It's better to stop than just staring at your screen for 2 hours. That's not very productive, even if you say that maybe I've worked 2 hours. So it's important to take a break and then come back. And also ask for help. Maybe I'm saying something which is stupid, but if you are stuck for too much time, like an exercise in math, it's important to try to face the problem. I like math, so I like this approach of trying to fix the things yourself. But if you're really stuck, maybe it's time to ask your friends, ask on Stack Overflow, ask on Twitter. Now I've also seen people, if they are stuck, you can post your problem on Twitter and someone will answer to that. For example, I've seen people, when they have the problem with Docker, they ask the questions and you can tag a person. You can tag me or another person, and more likely they will answer, or there could be also a better answer than mine. So ask questions and don't feel bad, because this is our work.
Yes, sir. Taking time off and then getting back to it with a fresh approach would help. Also, the internet helps a lot. Yes, sir, indeed. Yes, sir. So moving on, we talked about that you quit your job last year to become a developer advocate and a freelancer. So what drove you to take such a risk and take up this solo journey as your career?
This is a great question, and I was waiting for this question. I quit my job not last year, but this year. It seems more time, but it was March this year. It seems already 4 years. I was working for the European Space Agency, and that was a great job. The problem was that I was also a content creator, and if you work for such a company, you can't share what you do.
Yeah.
You work on private repositories, secret projects. You sign something that you can share something. So it started to I started to have a problem. Like I had like two lives: my life as a full stack developer, and then my life as a content creator. And of course, after a while, you need to make a decision. So I decided to drop this way and go more on the content creation part. And I think that the developer, okay, there is some, and I think that the developer advocate is a great role to, if you are also active on social media, to talk about a company, but also share their ideas, help them also with code. I have 6 months of experience now in developer advocacy world. We can talk about this. I think that would be a separate episode, just because this is more about me. But yeah, so basically, developer advocate is a position when you are a developer, but you're also an advocate. I'm joking, but you are also a person who shares the something about the company, and it creates the contact between the audience and the company. It's more or less what I also do for Docker. So basically, you are the person who gets the feedback of the people, but also the previews and maybe the upcoming features of the company. So that's it. You're basically the person in the middle.
Yes, sharing your knowledge and then impacting a lot of people, imparting your knowledge. It's a greater thing to have. That's I completely agree. So I would ask to you so that we are approaching the end of the session. So I would like to take up the last question from the live chat. Nirvik wants to ask that, according to you, what will be the impact of technologies like GitHub Copilot in the future?
Yeah, I hear some. Okay, now it's gone. It's gone. I heard some noise in the background. I like those technologies, and every time I see those technologies. By the way, with Copilot, you can check that. But it's basically a tool which helps you to code. Ideally, it should replace the developers, but there was this joke like, okay, so who will code GitHub Copilot? So basically, we always need developers. What I like is that now we have the support that we didn't have 20 years ago. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we were just writing some very simple HTML pages, some CSS, some JavaScript, and we were done. So basically, in some weeks. Now we want more interactive applications. We are also moving to Web3. So I honestly I like that. I made, I think, also a poll on Twitter, like, do you like it or not? People will say like, stop, don't be a developer now, it's too late. It's not about that. People are saying this. I've been saying this for 20 years. But what is really important is that a developer must to stay updated. They must know that these tools they actually exist. If you just code in a room without internet, without anything, probably in that case you can struggle in finding a job. So it's very important to know that these tools exist, and of course you can use that. It can save your time. They are all tools for developers. They are not intended to replace developers, because if you are focused on just coding, I don't know if that's enough. It's important to focus on also other stuff. So you can focus on the new upcoming technologies. And this is, I think, the good and the bad part of being a developer, that you need to stay updated daily. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much for like letting us know this. The journey, it's very important. The entire process of learning. Um, Thank you so much for your time, sir. It was indeed great to hear from you. Your experiences have really helped the audience gain valuable insights. We are nearing the end of our session. So I would like to ask you this final question before ending this talk. What is your message to all the budding engineers and developers listening to you right now?
Yeah, usually this is the question that I make to all my guests. So this is the first time that someone makes this question to me. So since a lot of people here in the chat they want to be a developers, I suggest to keep going on this way and staying updated. Don't feel overwhelmed because this world is huge, but you can start checking that just with a small part, your favorite part, and then you can expand. Another thing which I really suggest you is to have a social presence, because this can really help you in the upcoming years. You will get way more opportunities. So if you use, for example, Twitter or other social media in the proper way, you will get way more benefits out of that instead of just scrolling and liking something. It depends on what you want to do, of course. And the very last thing is that I suggest you to join join a community, or also multiple communities. For example, I've created a community focused on content creators, for example, and this is my idea of this community is to have something where people can share something, especially if you don't have a huge social presence. It can really help you to get noticed, because it's very hard. Sometimes it's hard to get noticed as a content creator. If nobody knows you, even if you create the best article in the world, it's very rare that someone can really read that. You need to be lucky that a person with a lot of followers, with a great social media presence, they will read that and share that. But usually people like that, they are very busy. They don't check much stuff. Sadly, this is the course of the content creators. You need to choose between creating and or consuming content. And of course, also, I've been a content consumer for decades, but now I'm more focused on the creation, so I can check some of them. Thank you, everyone in the chat. This has been a really very interactive live stream, and of course, thank you, Vedica. You have been a great host. Yes, so I'm waiting for the next time, but this has been really great interview. It's great for me to be a guest, and yes, keep working on that. Keep working on that, because if you and I suggest you to really stay active on socials, because you will never know which great opportunities can really come up if you use social media in the proper way. And of course, follow me on Twitter, but not joking.
Thank you so much for making time, sir. We're really trying to create good content in our own community too. It was really great to have you here, and thank you for joining us. I hope that everyone really enjoyed today's session. Another thrilling experience in 10 days of code, the Geektober quiz, will be live now. 3 days, 3 levels, and gear up to win exciting prizes and goodies. All the best for completing your projects at 10 days of code. Thank you so much. May the source be with you.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye.